I'm Lorraine Mansbridge.
I'm Fred Keating, and this is Movie Week, your personal armchair guide to the wonderful world of entertainment in store for you here on First Choice Superchannel.
With the current run of Tarzan movies at its peak, Hollywood decided that somebody other than Bo Derek should bring venturesome sex to the jungle. And who better than Tanya Roberts as Sheena, Queen of the Jungle? It's a wonder that Tinseltown took so long to discover Sheena. This is the first Sheena movie as far as we've been able to discover, although Dorothy Lamour did a string of jungle heroine pictures, starting with The Jungle Princess in 1936. Maureen O'Sullivan, of course, played Jane to Johnny Weissmuller's Tarzan for over 10 years. But until Tanya Roberts, no Sheena. Are we happy about having the heroine of this famous comic strip brought to heaving life by Miss Roberts? Well, judge for yourself. Here are some scenes from Sheena.
Your friends?
You want to die?
No.
Then go back. Tell the rest of your evil, killing tribe not to hunt us. You remain here to be sure he obeys me. Get out!
I don't think so.
Cthulhu.
They understand you?
Of course.
Who are you?
I am Sheena.
I'm Vic Casey. I cold-cocked that guard when he was about to shoot you. Remember?
Sheena, a First Choice Super Channel premiere movie, plays on September 13th, 18th, 22nd, and 28th.
From the wonderful physique of Tanya Roberts, our next premiere movie takes us to the wonderful physique of Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's The Terminator, and the former Mr. Universe who made his movie debut back in 1977 in Pumping Iron. That was the documentary about men who pursue fame and fortune in the world of bodybuilding. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger's found the perfect role in The Terminator, a campy kind of sci-fi movie in which he plays an unstoppable cybernaut sent into the past to prevent a rebel leader from being born. Here are some scenes.
In the 21st century, a weapon will be invented like no other. This weapon will be powerful, versatile, and indestructible. It can't be reasoned with. It can't be bargained with. It will feel no pity, no remorse, no pain, no fear. It will have only one purpose: to return to the present and prevent the future. This weapon will be called the Terminator.
You're dead, honey.
What day is it? The date? 12th May, Thursday. What year? I'm here to help you. I'm Reese, DN 38416, assigned to protect you. You've been targeted for termination.
What does it want me? Why me?
Arnold Schwarzenegger, it is The Terminator.
The Terminator, a first-choice Super Channel premiere movie, plays on September 15th, 18th, 26th, 28th, and 30th.
We've gotten a lot of mileage out of kidding Arnold Schwarzenegger here on Movie Week, but it's a tribute to his imagination and forethought that he's managed to carve out a career for himself as a movie star.
You're right, Lorraine. Anyone who's seen Pumping Iron will surely have recognized Schwarzenegger's keen, sardonic sense of humor, and believe me, there's a keen intelligence to go along with it. Schwarzenegger's talents as a film actor may be limited, but there are no limits to his potential in the entertainment industry.
Here's Colin Dangard in Los Angeles in conversation with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger, 16 years ago you came to America, and you've since built an industry on being fit, on being developed, and being healthy. Was that like a mental pumping iron sort of challenge?
Well, it was important for me that besides winning the Mr. Universe contest and Mr. Olympia and Mr. World and all those titles over and over again, to also take that knowledge that I've gained through the years and pass it on to the general public. Because not everybody's interested to win Mr. Universe or to have a muscular physique like that. So I had to kind of come up with a program and teach the general public in America and also all over the world of how to exercise and how to stay fit. And so what I did was I developed the whole principle and started writing books and started a mail order business and really went out, and it took many, many years. I started with that promotion in the early 70s, and it's now the early 80s, and it took around 10 years, but now I think America is at its height of physical fitness. Everybody's in it, and of course the encouraging thing is that we have added on, which I consider the better half, which are the women. And women are training with weights, and they're doing their cardiovascular training and so on. So the whole thing became, like you say, an industry, you know, and everybody's benefiting from it, not only financially, but everybody's getting fit and in shape.
When you started exercising, it seemed to change your life, and your direction became concrete. You kind of knew what you wanted to do after that.
Well, I knew right away from the beginning that when I found out that I had potential in weight training and in bodybuilding, I decided that I wanted to be the top in the world, because that was the kind of a thing that everybody encouraged me to do. The coaches and so on, they all told me that I had a lot of potential in that. And so I started training 3-4 hours a day, and with the age of 20, I became the youngest Mr. Universe ever.
You went on to make a whole string of movies. Stay Hungry, Pumping Iron, The Villain, the Jane Mansfield Story, and most recently, Conan the Barbarian. It strikes me that it's very interesting that here you were trained as an athlete, where really you have to build walls around yourself so you do not get influences from those around you. Sometimes they might be negative or just untimely, but as an actor, you have to be the exact opposite.
That's
you
correct.
have to take in feelings from others.
That's one of the many changes you have to make when you change over. You know, it's not easy at all when you are in top as an athlete. It doesn't matter if it's now O.J. Simpson or Bruce Jenner or anybody of those guys, and then all of a sudden you step away from that and start from the beginning again. There are a lot of adjustments that one has to make psychologically, that you're now a beginner again all over. And number two, that certain things that applied to sports doesn't apply to acting, like you just mentioned, that you have to open up now for a change rather than closing in and protecting yourself. You have to be very open and very vulnerable when you do your scenes.
I must say, having seen Conan the Barbarian, you looked anything but vulnerable.
Well, in a barbaric time...
You looked the menacing sort of force there.
In the barbaric time, there wasn't much time to be vulnerable, because you only would be vulnerable maybe 1 or 2 times, and then you're dead. But it was still important to display a certain vulnerability in the movie, because as you probably know, the films like Hercules or Superman, they are not vulnerable at all. You know right away from scene 1 that they rip down columns and they fly with faster than the speed of light and stuff like that. Whereas with Conan, he was portrayed as a real human being that could be, gotten into trouble, and he was vulnerable towards women and towards other enemies and so on, and he really had to struggle through life just like anybody else. He just was very strong physically and mentally very strong, very determined.
Your life now is, of course, totally different to how it used to be in Austria when you were growing up there as a kid. Do you think if you were not Arnold Schwarzenegger, the now famous movie star, the now famous bodybuilder, that you would have met somebody like Marie Shriver, you know, the daughter of Eunice Kennedy? And
I don't know. I mean, I think I would have probably not been playing tennis in New York where I met her. That is true. So, but then again, maybe I would have met her, you know. So I never think about that.
How have the Kennedys accepted you into that huge clan?
I don't know. I mean, you have to ask them how they accept me. The last thing I do is to go around with a microphone and ask every one of the family, say, how do you accept me? So I've had a great relationship with them in the last few years, and I think that I'm accepted very well, and I accept them very well. And, you know, I think that it is just like meeting another family or the parents of just any girl. Same thing.
What about the attention that a relationship like that receives, obviously, in the press? As you go out to dinner and you're in the paper next day. Does that have any impact on the relationship itself, as opposed to you personally?
No. Being in the public all the time with a relationship really should not have any impact at all, if it is in the paper or not in the paper, if the press writes right or wrong things about the relationship and any of those things, it should not have any impact. It does not have any effect on my relationship at all. But it maybe has on other people's relationships, I don't know. But I mean, you know, I know how much I love Maria, and she knows how much she loves me, and so no matter what the press says, that's fine. You know, and that's just one of many things. I mean, if you're in the public eye, and if you're a celebrity, or if you know, an author or anything like that, that you're well known, then those things happen. You just get coverage, press coverage, no matter what you do.
So for you, it's a rewarding and fulfilling relationship?
Absolutely, yeah.